About 12 years ago, I used to work with HSBC in their Mumbai headquarters. And every time my team and I would go for an afternoon coffee, we saw something interesting across the road on a footpath. A woman selling husk balls and grass bunches, something that animals such as cows, bullocks or buffaloes would eat. A few feet away from her, there was a cow. Her cow tied to a tree. Now, one thing you must know, in India, people revere cows. So every time they see a cow, they are tempted to pat her, to feed her. Just like some people have close relationship with their pet cats, dogs or robots, here it exists with cows. So as we sipped our coffee, we saw people passing by. They would pause, then they would buy a grass bunch or a husk ball, feed the cow, pat her and move on. And every time that happened, we smiled, we chuckled and debated about the business model that was at play. I marveled the idea but couldn't quite figure out what was wrong. Then a few years later, I came across so-called platform business models such as Alibaba, Amazon, Google, Facebook, etc. That's when I realized that how these platform businesses and marketplaces, much like the husk ball seller, manipulate your behavior for their business benefit. And how in this technology-centric world, tech ethics have a vital role to play in our sustainability. Consumerism is an idea that promotes consumption. It gives us a false sense that people's happiness or well-being depends on material possession. But it also has negative impact on our environment. As consumption increases, the need to produce those goods also increases, which then increases emissions, pollution, it accelerates climate change and a number of other things. In short, when more people consume more stuff, we get sustainability problem. Now the question is, how do we end up consuming so much? Who is selling us more and more? Why are they doing it? And most importantly, how do they do it? Here comes platform businesses. Platform businesses thrive on optimizing supply and demand side of the equation. Or should I say, grass and cow side of the equation. One of the key metric platform businesses have is CLV, Customers Lifetime Value. CLV depends on how much you buy on a platform, how often you buy, and how long you keep buying. So there is a direct benefit for a platform business to make you buy more, make you buy often and always. Now, here's the problem. Getting someone open their wallet is hard enough. Making them do it for buying something they don't even need can be even harder. That's when people get into manipulative tactics. Now, manipulation is possible only if someone has more data on you, your personal data and your data about you. Now, we all know what personal data means, but very few people know what data about you means. It means your metadata, it means your behavior, online behavior, and your persona built based on that behavior. Let's call it as your digital twin or your digital footprint. Have you ever heard a term cookies? Not the sweet ones, but browser cookies. They are used to track your online behavior across the web. So when you see an ad, what do? Do you click on the ad? Or do you browse away and search for the item in a search engine? Or you go on eBay and find cheaper alternative? How long you see an ad and then make a purchase? Everything gets monitored. In fact, it is also called as surveillance capitalism. commodifying personal data for the sole purpose of profit making. You search for an item once and you get bombarded with personalized emails that buy now because the sale is ending soon, buy now because there are only 3 items remaining, buy now because someone who bought this also bought that. But what if platforms can detect if someone is bipolar, depressed, and they're vulnerable, and they can lure you to buy more, shop more? Now here's the kicker. It's not if anymore. Platforms have all the data on you. They have done all the profiling on you. In fact, you gave that data at some point in time for the convenience they offered. But they never told you that this data will be used to manipulate your behavior, have they? Ryan Casada is a 26-year-old singer and actor. He's from Los Angeles, and he remembers telling the Atlantic, a newspaper, that once he almost bought pizza pool floater online. Then he remembered that he doesn't even have a pool. There is another story with Miss Beta. She tells Business Insider how she purchased over 1,427 items over the period of 8 years on Amazon. That roughly translates to 1 item every 2 days. She spent over $40,000 in buying stuff she did not even need. There are many betas and many Ryans out there. But what is more repulsive is when you hear a news that billionaires got richer during the pandemic. Bezos added 35 billion, Zuckerberg added 25 billion. There are many more. And doing what? Selling you more and more. Using your personal data to manipulate your behavior. What did you get? Technology has immense potential, immense power to become force for good, but we need people with the right mindset to use it. We need people who have their heart and head in right place. I have been technologist for past 20 years, and I have seen one thing. Techies have a hard time to understand, to appreciate, let alone prevent the unintended consequences of whatever they create. Expecting them to change can be challenging. Plus, when businesses have profit as a primary motive, self-regulation is just a window dressing. But we can change this. You and I can change this. So let me put this in perspective. There are about 1 million employees in top 4 platform companies. And there are 2.5 billion users who are affected by this. I think we have got great leverage, enough advantage to change things, to turn things around. Then what stops us from taking any action? What prevents us from doing anything? And I think for most of us, it's difficult to understand what exactly is wrong and articulate. Much like what happened with me when I saw husk ball seller but couldn't quite figure out what is wrong. So here are a few things that I'm suggesting you today. You can start doing from today. First of all, read more, research and understand about these issues, consumerism, sustainability, tech ethics. See how they are related. Become aware, because the last thing you want to have is ignorance. People use your ignorance to sell you something, and they will cross the line if they can. So spread this awareness. Secondly, every time you are done browsing on your devices such as laptop, computers or mobile phones, delete cookies. You can make this as a permanent change in settings. But eventually, we all have to become intentional about our buying habits. Because tech ethics is not a technical problem. It's a social problem. And social problems need social movement to change. So every time you see such issues firsthand, speak up. Seek support if you need and support others who are speaking up, who need support. Tech platforms, its wealthy business owners, governments, all of them have a fiduciary duty towards us, towards fellow residents of this planet. A duty of care to put everybody's sustainability interest ahead of their business interest. Undue promotion of consumption, promoting consumerism, influencing and manipulating buying behavior using your personal data, it all has to stop. You see, cost of living is much lower than cost of lifestyle. It always has been. But now, our sustainability is at risk. So I would like to ask you one question. Are you willing to be the change you want to see?